series of obstacles, and maybe that what that represents in the game of life?
Yeah. Anybody that's on the call that's been a small business entrepreneur has probably faced their own similar challenges. The older I get to realize that you can't be, by definition, an entrepreneur without some bumps in the road. And I had some very major bumps, but those, as I think Bo has probably related, those taught me the most valuable business lessons and life lessons. And I think I'm a much better businessman, and I appreciate my gifts and my successes a lot more because of those. First one, yeah, you were right. I did walk around the building. I used to take my, I'd have to, at least every, during some of the most stressful times, maybe some of your listeners can relate. You have to leave your desk, take a walk outside and get some fresh air to, lower the blood pressure a little bit, because you're feeling the burden of your customers on one side, your employees on the other side, the financial partners and your banks, and you're wondering how you're going to keep them all going to meet all the commitments that you've made. The biggest one was probably right after. I'll share this one story. Right after 9/11, through the late 90s, as people remember, the economy was booming, and I had a number of successes in buying and selling and building companies. So I was a very, I guess you could call an overconfident entrepreneur. And so I had the opportunity to buy a few of these companies that I was running from a larger entity. And I decided I was going to leverage everything I had, involve friends and family, to be able to buy all these businesses and put them under, one umbrella. And, I thought it was only going to go one way up. Well, little did I realize right there, shortly thereafter, the economy really took a tank. And then on top of that, I had some key employees that left. And then we lost a couple key clients and customers. And so I was under tremendous burden, because it was not only the business and all the employees that were dependent on me, but it was my whole life savings. And then when you involve friends and family, you feel that double burden. It's bad enough losing your own money, but when you lose friends and family's money, it makes it hard to, you can't accept defeat. So I guess yes, I was one of those guys that couldn't sleep at night because of the pressure, trying to figure out solutions to these. So I'd be walking the streets. I'm glad my neighbors didn't report me to the local police. Who is this guy walking the streets at night, with his big jacket on and, covering his head, because it's colder than heck out there. But I had to come up with solutions. And I guess my lesson through this is, when you don't have to come up with a solution, your mind doesn't come up with a solution. It's amazing how creative you can get when you have to. When failure is not an option, you come up with more ideas and more energy than you thought humanly possible. So I came up with some great solutions. And again, I was surrounded by some really talented people. I involved in the process, and we survived it. And not only survived it, we were able to, and I actually take it back. I got to one step back. I say, a lot of this came from myself, brainstorming, walks, and the talented people around me. But I'll even add one more element, and I truly believe this to the deepest part of my soul, that God absolutely, He's like somebody sitting on your shoulder, just giving you the inspiration and the wisdom to handle the adversity. And I felt like, I wasn't alone in the battle. I felt like I had divine inspiration. I just felt like He was talking to me, telling me I was going to get through it. And I pray often and regularly, and it's just amazing when you open yourself up, you humble yourself down to, not thinking you have all the answers, but if you just have the openness, and you add to it, you open to the wisdom that's around you from friends, family, and God, and then you have the determination and persistence, great things can happen. So that's my 9/11 story. And there's plenty of other ones, but that was one I thought might, maybe some of your listeners can relate to.
Well, and I think they can, and then the things that, let's say the plates that you have been spinning or had spun, so to speak, if such a thing exists in life, will probably then sort of generate another set of questions, or at least one is, if you've got a family and you've got to grow a big family, and if you've got business